Our sixth stop is the lavish historical hotel, the Symphony. Tucked comfortably into the shadow of the music hall, the Symphony Hotel combines some of Queen City's greatest passions: music, art, food, and history. Built in 1842, originally this building was a truly elegant 19th century mansion just on the edge of the bustling over-the-Rhine neighborhood. Designed by renowned architect James McLaughlin, it was built as a stone mansion for Peter Ergot, who is an ardent supporter of the Cincinnati Symphony and the May Festival. Ergot's son, Louis, was a talented, blooming musician and started teaching music lessons back in the dining room. Over time, music students boarded there. Developing their craft in the mansion remained as a boarding room for many, many years. After Lewis's death, the building became the Clyde Hotel, and even a brothel at the time when the entire over-the-Rhine neighborhood was in a state of disrepair. It was rescued and revitalized 21 years ago, opening again in October of 2017. These days, it's home to a 9-room boutique hotel and restaurant. There is even a lounge that hosts live jazz music here on weekends. Even the rooms themselves are unique, each individually themed after a legendary figure from the pantheon of classical music. Hence the name Symphony. Think Mozart, Bach, Beethoven. Each room is tailored with decadent decor. Each room is filled with the period piece antiques that leave you feeling luxurious. Karen Meister-Blatt threw herself into the revitalization project of the Symphony Hotel. She even designed the shower curtains for each bathroom, and her personal artwork is used on the doors of the room's Do Not Disturb sign. But not all is glittering in the Symphony. The hotel hides darker secrets, kept for over a century. It has been said in the late 1970s a frequent guest checked in but never checked out. One room in particular, the Mozart room, has a truly sinister story to it. It is said that a young woman named Monica, a lady of the night, if you will, overdosed and died inside of the room. Since then, visitors to the Mozart room have reported very strange and sometimes horrifying experiences while staying there. Footsteps are heard, and if you lay completely still in your bed, you can feel someone get in and under the covers beside you. Guests have reported seeing children's spirits running up and down the hall, and personal items frequently go missing, never to be found again. Multiple guests have reported walking up to a woman in a red dress, standing over them, breathing down their neck. It is assumed that this is the spirit of Monica, the woman who overdosed in the hotel. She was brought here during the hotel's time as a brothel to serve the wealthy, powerful, and well-connected music-loving guests of the time. Monica was not known to be addicted to drugs of any kind and driven by her intense need to escape. She had a difficult choice to make. Taking her final breaths right here in the Mozart room, she finally got away from the lifestyle she was forced to live. But only for a moment. Monica still strolls the halls of the Symphony, dressed in red, searching for a way out. If you stay in her room, however, she may instead search for you. One paranormal researcher, who knew nothing of the history of this hotel, stayed a night in the Mozart room, and his reports tell of a story he will never be able to forget. It started off like any other normal ghost hunt. He set up a slew of cameras, microphones, and energy-sensing instruments, such as EMF detectors, which are designed to pick up electromagnetic fields. Spirits are said to give off electromagnetic fields, and these instruments can help guide a researcher during their hunt. This researcher explored the hotel, dined in the restaurant, which he said was amazing, by the way, and returned to his room close to 11 o'clock that night. He nestled into his bed, made himself at home, turned on the TV to watch as he drifted off to sleep. But sleep was not on his itinerary that night. Just before he started to fall asleep, an image flashed into his head of a young woman being attacked by men in the hallway outside of his room. They dragged her as she was kicking and screaming into the room and slammed the door behind them. The door slam awoke him, and he found his TV had been turned off and the room's door was completely open. He knew he shut his room door, because who in their right mind sleeps in a hotel room with the door wide open? He tried to process the horrific scene he had seen before him, and set up his recorder to ask a few questions, closing his room door in the process. He asked if anyone was in the room with him, what their name was, the usual. Gaining no response on his equipment, he decided to try to go back to sleep, hoping he would not be startled again. Around 2:30 that morning, he woke up in a cold sweat, and standing before him was a small woman's figure, about 5'4", as he said, at the foot of his bed. He felt himself trembling, but he could not move. He tried to reach for his camera, but to no avail. The figure sensed his movement and vanished. He felt choked and was unable to breathe for a few seconds before he came to his senses and could switch his light on. He reported, "Whoever this figure was, she wanted me to feel what she felt. She wanted me to feel that her fear, that helplessness, that hopeless life she had experienced before." When I found out about the history of this hotel, I was in shock. The images I had of her being dragged into a room, her horrible passing, I couldn't believe that she had come to show me these things. After a stay here, he never came back, understandably. He now believes that the spirits he saw and felt in his room was Monica, pleading for someone to hear her untold story. A few other guests have also reported having nightmarish visions while still awake and feeling a heavy weight on their chests while they slept. If you dare, stay a night or two here in the hotel or even in the Mozart room and see if the spirit Monica pays you a visit.